Hi, and welcome to Cowboys Corner. I'm your host, John Belcher, a 2011 graduate of Notre Dame and walk-on long snapper for Coach Brian Kelly's first season. Welcome to another year of college football, that glorious time of year when all in the world is right. It's week 1, Notre Dame in Texas. The game's on Saturday, September 5th at Notre Dame Stadium and begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Vegas has the Irish as 9-point favorites with an over-under of 54.5 points. The Texas Longhorns are coached by Charlie Strong in his second year. Coach Strong's first season included a 6-7 finish and a 31-7 loss to Arkansas in last year's Advocare V100 Texas Bowl. Coach Strong returns to Notre Dame after serving under Coach Lou Holtz and Bob Davie from 95 to 98. I'm going to call this the Battle of the Maliks, as it seems the Irish and Longhorns both have high hopes riding on young players in important positions. For the Irish, redshirt sophomore Malik Zaire will receive his first uncontested start at quarterback, while the Longhorns have Malik Jefferson, a very talented and highly billed early enrollee true freshman, at middle linebacker. The play of these two individuals could dictate the outcome of the game. If Zaire is effective at distributing the ball to his playmakers and moves the chains with his feet, the Irish will be victorious. If Jefferson can plug the run behind his formidable defensive line and cause pressure in the passing game, the Longhorns will keep it very competitive. Let's talk about the keys to this game. As both teams are heavily power focused, the offensive and defensive lines are the most important units on the field. Led by top NFL prospect Ronnie Stanley, the Irish have the best offensive line during Kelly's tenure at Notre Dame. They've been mentioned so little during camp that it feels that they might even be living up to the hype. The Horns' defensive line is led by Hassan Ridgway, who has 6 sacks a year ago, although he battled an injury through camp and is currently listed second on the depth chart. We may not see him in week 1. Coach Strong said the Longhorns have 12 to 13 guys that can play up front, which will be very important against the stout line and run game of the Irish. On the other side of the ball, an ACL tear to Jerron Jones forces early enrollee Jerry Tillery into the D-line mix. There's a lot of depth in this group, but they will need to prove themselves if Notre Dame hopes to compete for a playoff spot. The Texas offensive line is led by senior left guard Cedric Flowers. The unit was porous last year, but hopes that 2 talented freshmen can increase the talent level and continuity of the unit. Expect Texas to run the ball up the middle where there is the most experience. For both teams, expect the running backs to get a great deal of touches, but the quarterbacks will look to carry the rock on third down. When it comes to the passing game, I anticipate whichever quarterback makes the first mistake to be on the team that loses. The Irish have to allow Zaire to get into a rhythm and make a few good throws. He has to make sure he looks off the safeties and corners. With how good the Longhorn secondary is, if he stares down receivers, I can see a play going for 6 the other direction. The Longhorns need Tyrone Swoops to earn all of his playing time and not get into the quarterback rotation that Coach Charlie Strong has discussed. Swoops can do this by using his athleticism to make plays. Swoops can be compared to Devin Gardner of Michigan. Nightmare athleticism, but if you get him under pressure, he makes mistakes. The Irish strengths look to be an ability to dominate the clock on offense and get you off the field on defense. Tarian Folston, CJ Procise, and Josh Adams should get heavy workloads, and the ground total will surpass 250 yards. The wide receiver and tight end cores are dangerous and will make big plays, but won't be leaned on to get movement. They will contribute chunk plays, as there will be more play action, as well as holes in zones, thanks to Zaire's legs. Expect to hear the name Will Fuller, Equinemius St. Brown, and Alize Jones a lot. The biggest liability for the Irish will be the ability to generate pass rush. There isn't a player we can point to from the D-line as a sack artist, but thankfully we have Jalen Smith and Kavari Russell to bring pressure from their linebacker and nickel spots respectively. The secondary has a great deal of talent, but the issue in the past has been communication. Max Redfield will be tasked with leading the group to live up to their athletic potential. The strengths of the Longhorns is their talent level and a roster with several explosive players. If they can establish the run and use a few trick plays successfully, they will walk away with the win. I expect wide receiver Dejae Johnson, running back Deontay Foreman, and quarterback Tyrone Swoops to be the X factors on offense. From the weakness perspective, this is a very young team, which leads me to believe they will be mistake prone and get in their own way. I still feel the offensive line is not up to Coach Strong's standards and will be a liability this year, But next year's Week 1 game at Darrell Royal Stadium between the Irish and the Horns will be different. If the young Longhorns can pressure Zaire into mistakes instead of making their own, they definitely have the talent to pull off the upset. My final score prediction is Notre Dame 31, Texas 17. I'd like to give a special thanks to the guys at Irish Envy for always keeping their forums updated for Notre Dame football information. If you enjoyed this primer and would like to stay updated on every primer for Notre Dame football for the rest of the year, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much.